Limit as z goes to 1 of 4z squared plus 3z minus 7 over 3z squared plus 9z minus 12. The first thing we're going to do is try plugging in a 1 for each of the z's. So in the numerator we will have 4 times 1 squared plus 3 times 1 minus 7. In the denominator we will have 3 times 1 squared plus 9 times 1 minus 12. In the numerator 4 times 1 squared is 4. 3 times 1 is 3, and then minus 7. In the denominator, 3 times 1 squared is 3. 9 times 1 is 9, and then minus 12. In the numerator, 4 plus 3 is 7, minus 7 is a 0. In the denominator, 3 plus 9 is a 12, minus a 12 is also a 0. We have a 0 over 0 indeterminate form. We will need to rework this. Since these are power functions, we're going to try the factor and cancel method. So we will have limit as z goes to 1 of. Now the numerator is a trinomial quadratic with z. Since it's a 4z squared, it will factor into either 4z times 1z or 2z times 2z. And then we need to have two numbers that multiply to be a negative 7. Now nicely that'll be a 1 and a 7 for sure. So we know we have a 1 and a 7. It's just a question of whether we have a 2z times 2z or a 4z times 1z to take care of the first term. But then they need to multiply to give a positive 3. So since we know it's a 7 and a 1, we can even put a 7 and a 1 here. Now we can try 4z and 1z, maybe 4z here and 1z here. That'll give us a 28z here and a 1z. There's no way those add up to 3, so it won't work that way. We can also try the 4z to be here and the 1z to be here, and that will give us a 4z and a 7z, and a 4 and a 7 can add to be a positive 3. We need specifically the 7 to be positive, so we will need that to be plus to be a positive 7z, and then minus a 4z. So that's now fully factored. In the denominator we have also a trinomial quadratic. Nicely, since it's 3z squared, that definitely factors to a 3 and a 1, so I know I have a 3z and a z. And now we have the 12 to deal with. Now 12 has numerous divisors. It can be a 12 and a 1, so we can always try a 12 here and a 1 here. That's a 36, and then a 1z, and that's not going to work out. We can try the 12 here and the 1 here. That's going to be a 12 and a 3. This will give us a 12z, this will give us a 3z, and those can add to be a 9. We do need the 3 to be a negative and the 12 to be a positive, so we were able to get that to factor like so. And now you can see where the 0 over 0 is coming from. Remember, we expect to see a z minus 1 factor in the numerator and denominator since we had 0 over 0 to begin with, and we do see that factor, and that factor can cancel out. Now we can just rewrite this limit with the 4z plus 7 divided by the 3z plus 12. We can now try plugging the 1 in for z. We have a 4 times 1 plus a 7 divided by a 3 times 1 plus 12. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 7. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 12. And we have an 11 over 15.